All right. Good day to everyone. My name is Jordan. I'm an account executive here in the enterprise space with Aurora Solar, and I want to just take a few minutes today to do a really kind of high level, but occasionally in depth dive into Sales Mode, which is Aurora's customer facing interactive homeowner experience where we can do really everything from entering an address, creating a project, moving all the way through a proposal. Um, in really a very short amount of time these days. So I want to take you through the platform to do that. Now, just to give a little bit of sort of insight here, right? We have our projects page here. And for today, I'm just going to create a new project and sort of move through those steps with everyone together, right? So, I mean, an existing project, just for everyone's edification, when you click into it, you'll see a dashboard view here. But for today, and you'll see that in just a second, right? And we'll move through those steps. But really for today, I'm going to start this from scratch. So let's just dive right in and get that started. So I'm going to click new project here, and I'll just use the address that I typically use here for this demonstration, which is in Stanford, California, 901 Mears Court. You'll notice as you type in the address that it does kind of an autofill there to suggest the address. Makes it really, really easy for the rep. A lot of this information at a higher level can be API'd into Aurora, and there can be a lot of automated processes done with our software too. So if you're listening to this and you're looking to do some type of specialized integration with our platform, we have full open API capabilities too. So you'll see the home geolocated right here. And let's go ahead and dive in. You actually don't need to put a project name in. It'll just default to the address. And I'll also go ahead and call out that we do have Teams and Partners functionality now inside Aurora. So whatever the case may be there, in this case, I don't have anything robust to show, and we could dive in on a further call. But you can set and assign a team. It's nice to have that sort of, nice to have those guardrails in place for visibility of just your team's projects as well. So we're actually going to create a new project. It just wants me to know that I have this address existing somewhere else. Don't want to make any duplicates when and where possible. So we'll land into this project. Now, just really quickly, again, some of this stuff can be API, but for today, just to make it a little bit more personal, I'll update some quick customer information there with my own, and we'll go ahead and just jump really quickly back to the dashboard. So everything that you essentially see when you're inside a project, these little sections, that's just what's shown over here to the left. It just is an easy way to jump to each one if you need to update this information before you meet with the customer. What I want to show you today is an example of how to do that with a live meeting with a customer. Maybe they're ready to have a quote immediately, and we can just sort of dive right in. You will also notice a couple of sections right below here. This is where you can manage different versions of a design. One without battery, one with battery. We don't mind if you have multiple iterations of a certain design inside your project there. You'll also see a form at the bottom here to request a plan set. We'll save that for another demonstration, but safe to say, Aurora has a phenomenal plan set service as well that delivers plan sets in 24 hours. We are boasting a 95% AHJ acceptance rate with this plan set service. So let's dive in here really quick and we're going to go straight into sales mode here. Okay. Again, this can be customer facing. It's intended to be that. It's meant to be a simplified, really fast, efficient, accurate motion for the rep to be able to land on a finalized proposal in a very short amount of time. So sales mode will basically give you your proposal template right out of the gate. This can be fully customized and branded video content. It's all designed to be interactive as well. And so what I would love to start off with is just sort of showing you the steps that you need to move through in order to have this proposal completed. That's going to be broken into 5 main sections: usage, system design, storage, when and where relevant, pricing, always relevant, and financing. Let's go ahead and just start at the top with usage. Okay. And again, as I move through this, a couple of things to also mention. This is designed and optimized to be used with Google Chrome. This platform is friendly for tablets as well. So everything that you see me doing here today can be done on a tablet. It doesn't have to be on a laptop. Okay, and this is going to be the sales rep sort of designed experience. So for consumption, if I have that from a customer, ideally that's something that we know. We have some few options on how to put that information in. We have a really nicely updated, simplified interval data upload option as well that we could explore. For today, to keep it simple, I'm just going to stick with the default, which is monthly estimate 1 to 12 months. You're going to notice that 1 in there, which means I actually don't need all 12 months worth of usage in order to model the usage for a customer. So if they have limited information, that's totally okay. We have a partnership and integration with Genability and InRail data that allows us to actually extrapolate the remaining months of the year with just 1 month's worth of value. You will also notice pre and post solar rates do automatically load based on the address, the local utility rate, though we do give you the other local options there to choose from if for any reason it needs to be different, but shouldn't be the case. So again, that's a partnership with Genability that allows us to really quickly handle these steps. And I'll just also preface this by saying, always great to have all 12 months in there if you can. I think we all kind of agree on that. And let's move into system design here as well. So for system design, it's going to immediately prompt you to run your site design in one of two ways, Aurora AI or requesting an expert model. Just as a kind of a refresher here, we always have Aurora's in-house design team ready to complete an expert site design for you. And if we were to click that, you can just simply request which version of this you'd like. The faster version in 30 minutes or less, on average about 15 minutes. The standard version that delivers site designs in under 3 hours, depending on the difficulty there, and you'd be able to send that off. But for today, what I want to do is I want to run Aurora AI. So again, it's going to prompt you to do this. I'm going to run AI, and to tell you just a little bit about Aurora's AI capabilities. It's machine learning technology that is used in accordance with LiDAR data as well, which is our 3D data set. It's also used with the imagery that's provided as well. And also to call it out, we do have an official partnership with Eagle View. That's exclusive, up-to-date imagery with a higher list of data points to allow us to get even more accurate and perfect when we run AI. So don't know if anyone decided to time that, but AI now runs on about usually no more than 10 seconds, as opposed to about 30 to 45 seconds about a year ago. So it's machine learning, it's getting more intelligent, and it is delivering that site design for you essentially instantly. Okay. Now, what all do we see here? All of the obstructions are shown down here in the bottom left. You'll have some data sets that you can use in order to help further educate the customer, and frankly, just to build value in establishing yourself as the most accurate resource for solar design for that customer. So there's LiDAR data that's right there at the click of a button. Really easy functionality here when you're using either a mouse or an iPad to show this to a customer. And there's actually a really cool feature for shading that we use now that I'll show you in just a second. So you have that LiDAR data is there as well. And let's go ahead and run a radiance in addition, just before we go ahead and place our panels. I like to run a radiance here when I do these models because we want to educate the customer. And we also, again, want them to understand that we're using the most accurate tools in order to arrive at that finalized design. And when a radiance calculates, it doesn't just show the solar availability of the roof. It also does a full shading analysis as well. And it does this based on the LiDAR data. Okay, so we do a LiDAR refresh once, twice every year. And what you're going to notice here is that I actually have the full shading analysis done for this home in just a few seconds. And we can see exactly the ideal spots on the roof that we want to place panels. I know you might already be thinking ways in which this can save you time, but this is drastically eliminating time on site as well. And we know right out of the gate the areas where we want to sort of maximize that design. So I'll go ahead and leave that shading on, and let's place panels next. So there's a little array button here on the left, just below the site design button. It's as easy as selecting the panel that you'd like to use. I'll use a QPeak Duo for today. Select an orientation unless you'd like it to just sort of automatically sort of do a best fit practice there. I'll leave out filler rows for today and just keep it portrait to keep it simple. This can all be updated inside your settings too, along, of course, with this list of preferred components, modules, and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click Place Panels here. And Aurora is going to do about 3 things simultaneously as we ask it to run what's essentially a shortcut for this feature called Auto Designer, right? It's going to do a max fit feature where it's going to place panels on every available surface. It's also going to target 100% offset because I've asked it to do that inside my settings. So that's a nice guardrail that it puts in. And it will do a suggested design based on the solar availability and solar access from the shade report that we sort of have here on the roof. Okay. And a great example of this would be a homeowner saying, hey, listen, I really love this design. However, I kind of want it to just look symmetrical and nice. So let's like remove one of these panels and, let's decide to keep and maybe add a few extra panels in or something like that, right? So by clicking on a panel, you can ghost it out or enable it. You can click and drag in order to get an entire row. You can double click or double tap to turn on and off an entire section. So the idea here is speed, simplicity, and not sacrificing anything on the accuracy front. So just wanted to show that off. Looks really, really good. And let's say the homeowner is really happy with that 122% offset. I'm going to go ahead and click Finalize. A couple other quick features to call out inside this demonstration is that we do have the ability to add and update inverters live inside Sales Mode right here. This is just a little button for an inverter. You can choose a different inverter here. And if for any reason this homeowner really wanted us to do something a little bit different, I'll just go ahead and select a solar edge as a quick example. Aurora would actually go in and do a recalculation there with that updated inverter, and I'll let it do its processes here to update that. So that takes into account inverter clipping, any system losses that are there for you to run that, that simulation for the engine as well. And also while that's calculating, I'll just go ahead and let you know we have a built-in ground array feature as well. So you can drag and drop, resize, and place a ground array anywhere that you'd like to right inside your design. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and click recalculate here as it wraps up. And the last thing that I will call your attention to, since we swapped inverters, what it's going to do is actually take the time to restring everything and select the appropriate inverter for the system size. So that's completed as well. So we have a really high level installable design here in just a few clicks. And so the only other things I would call your attention to, just so you're aware of them, there's a built-in ruler and measurement tool right inside here, so we don't have to get up on the roof to take measurements. Again, drastically eliminating time on site, pre and post sale. And we can also simulate the sun path for any month, day, or hour of the year. One of my favorite features in Aurora that I'll just go ahead and show you because it's quite cool to educate homeowners and show them what the sun is doing throughout the year. So I'll just go ahead and let that run. You could even zoom in if you'd like to and show them what the shading and the shadows are doing for their model. So really intuitive, intelligent, interactive experience for the homeowner and for the rep as well. Really sets the stage to become more of an energy consultant these days with the best tools. So let's continue on. I'm going to go ahead and shift over into battery and storage. So battery and storage, when and where relevant, has 3 operating modes. At the beginning of Sales Mode, you have the option to just opt out of even showing this to a homeowner if it's not a relevant situation, but where it is relevant, I'd like you to know what it can do. So I'm going to use a Franklin whole home battery for this. We support any number of batteries inside our design tool here. And there's 3 primary operating modes I'd like to call your attention to. The first one is battery backup. This one's quite straightforward. It's going to show you, just the battery capacity, the output, and also the installed costs, which you guys can obviously customize and set up. And it's going to show the homeowner the equivalent of some really simplified bare essentials, lights and fans versus maybe some small appliances versus the equivalent in, sort of whole home backup, right? And what that can look like. So just want to show you that. That's backup mode. I would say that's kind of the most kind of standardized way to model here. We have a few others that are really, really important that I do want to share for you. The first one is self-consumption. And this is going to be essentially limiting the grid use by consuming the energy that you produce, right? So this is going to be a situation where there's, time of use rates, and there's times of the day when we want to use energy from the battery in order to, to really make sure that we're not drawing off of the grid during those sort of peak rates and times. For self-consumption mode, I always just like to show an example of maybe, a little bit of battery backup in there as well. So I'll just toggle that up to whichever percentage I'd like to show. Quite straightforward to do that. And as we do anything in Aurora at any stage, it takes the time on the back end to recalculate and just make sure everything is adjusted. So there's actually a lot of things happening kind of behind the scenes, but it's not that experience for the homeowner and the rep. It all sort of has this instantaneous feel and update. So really nice example here for Franklin to show the difference in self-consumption, with a battery versus solar only. The last piece I want to call your attention to is going to be daily usage. This is the interactive ability to show a customer what the energy is essentially doing, what the electricity is doing throughout the different times of the day. You can even do it for different months of the year. So a great example here would be, the homeowner wakes up in the morning, and when they leave for work, they're charging their battery. They're essentially, drawing energy off of solar. There's grid export that's happening here before they get home. And during these peak times when they need the energy the most, that's when the battery is going to discharge. When they go to sleep and they're finally pulling energy from the grid and their usage is at its lowest, that's how we can help really maximize their situation. You can also live toggle to show a homeowner what that looks like with and without battery, right? What's sort of happening there. And you can do it for any month of the year. It's a really, really nice interactive tool there to educate homeowners and build value. The last one I'll show you is going to be energy arbitrage. This is going to be in situations where it is incentivized to sell your, essentially sell your energy back, to the grid. So there's situations where that's going to be advantageous, and there's times when there's not going to be the case there. So, but energy arbitrage is going to be, aimed at sort of maximizing those bill savings, and you can work through this, with the customer, depending on where you're located and what's applicable there. But this is the latest iteration, of that battery design tool. So easy to kind of go through there and show the homeowner what the difference is. If it's an energy arbitrage situation, you're able to do that. You're definitely maximizing the bill savings quite a bit more with just that single Franklin battery versus just self-consumption. You might need maybe a little bit more battery power there for that particular case. So just want to share that with you. That's the latest with Aurora's battery modeling tool. Again, it's all interactive. You can do this alongside the customer in a virtual space. So if you're running a virtual sales team, this platform is phenomenal for that. If you are needing to answer any quick questions or make updates or changes to a design live with the customer, this platform is amazing for that. Same thing with, if you're a door knocking kind of outbound sales process, this platform is excellent for those live consultations as well. So really, really setting you up for success with simplified tools to move from start to finish. As we wrap this up here in the next couple of minutes, just want to share with you, we have custom adders and discounts that can be, really just tailor fit to your needs. They can be based off of any metric, percentages, flat cost per watt, per square foot, if there's, roofing considerations that are there. Generally speaking, I like to have this on kind of a price per watt with a default, which is usually what we would have in here. I just have my flat cost from showing that to someone more recently. So I'll update that here. Since we've added battery, right, you'll notice there's a slightly higher gross price per watt that we could consider there with that added battery. And if we do any of these, let's just say we, maybe need a main service panel upgrade, and that actually will cost, $3,500 instead. You can allow inline edits for those items. So same thing applies to discounts. Incentives will automatically, of course, pull the renewable energy tax credit. We can add incentives at the state level. They can be customized. We can even customize utility rates in here if the need ever arises for those markets with a little bit more deregulation. I'm going to go ahead and jump into financing from here. And this is just your opportunity to look at financing options, compare them. As far as integrations go, we currently support integrated financing options with Mosaic, GoodLeap, SunGauge, and Dividend. We are absolutely exploring some other options for financing integrations, and we'll be excited to make some announcements in the future as far as what those are. Nothing official to share yet, but really exciting what's coming here in the near future. For now, the ability to model for cash, any of those integration options can be modeled for as well. You can do a comparison side by side if they'd like to see a cash option versus maybe some type of financing. And you can choose to just include those inside the proposal. So I'll just do a kind of an example of Aurora custom financing. These can all be designed and built in here in just a matter of seconds. It takes about 30 seconds to create one. Lease, loan, PPA, whatever those options are. I'm just going to throw something just absolutely random in here that you'll laugh at me for because the interest rate's so low. But we'll go ahead and put that in just for demonstration purposes. You can choose to add a down payment to this if you'd like to. You can have it show, adding a prepayment and what that looks like in terms, obviously many loan structures have that feature. So all the functionalities there. You could quickly look at a side-by-side sort of ROI here and find out, what's ideal, though they're both quite similar to finance or pay cash. And then from here, we would essentially be, we would be done. So I'll go ahead and just include this in the proposal for the fun of it. We'll say back to financing, and we're really done at this point. This is where we can now review a live proposal with the customer because everything sort of updates live and on the fly. So I'll go ahead and just click done. And again, this is just an out-of-the-box version. It can be branded, customized, video content, whatever you'd like to see there. And this is just a nice scrollable feature and a functionality for the customer, viewable, again, on any platform that they need to see it. And the last things that I'll show you, this is for storage. Everything would sort of update there. Details on storage, again, interactivity kind of built in throughout for the homeowner. Last thing I would point your attention to, besides just kind of the financing, would be, and the overview, would be pre and post solar. This is just a nice opportunity for them to see what their life looks like before solar and what their life looks like with sort of after solar. Lifetime savings. Preview bills is really powerful. This is just a nice interactive way to look at what their bills will be if they do or do not go solar over the next 25 years. Pretty powerful. That wraps it up in terms of the full end-to-end sales mode experience with proposals. I touched on a few different things today, but one of the ones I would just call your attention to is the power of AI and speed with that design. The interactivity of this tool to educate and build value with homeowners, modeling storage in kind of an industry-leading way. And last but not least, if we want to send that proposal out, we'll just click share. You can send that along to an email address. It is a refreshable, updatable proposal. So if the design changes at any point to true it up and you need to do a finalized updated proposal, you just click refresh, and it's going to refresh that live link for the homeowner. There is a downloadable version of Sales Mode to view the proposal experience printed for the homeowner as well. And that's going to be everything for today's demonstration. Just want to thank everybody for stopping by. Have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to further supporting your learning and finding ways to maximize and drive your business with Aurora's award-winning platform.